Hey, buddy. Did you give mommy a scare today? Yes, you did. Big scare today. Well, a lot of you have been asking how Pike is doing since losing Agron, and I thought Pike was going through some grief, but it turns out he is going through some pain. This morning, he woke me up licking, and my bed was a pool of blood. Not 100% sure what happened, but I'm pretty confident it was an abscess in his mouth that ruptured, and it just took a while for it to clot. But I called around to emergency vets, and the only one that could see me was in Seattle, which was 2 hours away from where I was. All right, guys, I'm rushing Pike to the emergency vet. I don't know what's going on. He is gushing blood in his mouth, so I'm wondering if maybe he has an abscess that ruptured. I guess we'll find out more, but right now I decided to drive the 2 hours to Seattle because that's the closest emergency vet that can see us today, and I'm just going to trust in the Lord because I can't do this. I loaded him up and I started driving, got about 30 minutes down the road, no cell phone service. It was just like with Agron. Went to a gas station to fill up because I wasn't gonna make it, and their pumps reset. So I had to sit there for a second. So I obviously went to go check on Pike, and you know, he stopped bleeding. But then I was sitting at a crossroads, like, do I go to Seattle still and risk spending all this money on a vet bill, or do I chance it, go back to my camper and kind of wait it out? I opted to wait it out, and I'm glad I did because he's doing better. It is the weekend, so tomorrow I'm gonna call local vets to see if I can't get him in this week sometime to have his mouth looked at. Because if it is an abscess, it's probably going to rupture. He's going to need antibiotics. So we are doing better than this morning, but he definitely gave me a scare and really worried me. But, you know, I just went straight into prayer and was just asking God for guidance and praising him no matter what. And he healed Pike in that moment. So we're thankful for that, aren't we, honey? Are we thankful? We're so thankful, honey. Yes. Other than that, Pike seems to be handling things okay, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of his lethargic behavior and his just what I took as grief was actually probably him not feeling too great. So 2 years ago, Pike had 31 teeth removed, and he doesn't have very many teeth to work with, but he's been fine with that. It's almost like it didn't even faze him. So if it is an abscess on a tooth, he doesn't have very many left. So obviously I want to make sure that he's not in pain and that he's got the antibiotics and that he's okay. So tomorrow, on Monday, when the vet's open, we're going to go take that next step towards his health. But it's been an emotional roller coaster, you guys. That whole experience this morning made me feel like I was reliving the whole Agron situation. And I'm just thankful that Pike stopped bleeding and we are hopefully on the mend. These last 3 weeks have been very stressful for me. Honestly, if you take out the last few months, this situation probably wouldn't have been so overwhelming. And from an outsider looking in, it probably doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But it's important to recognize that there's been some big moments in my life recently that have led me to feel the way that I do. I've noticed that I'm a little quicker to fear, and I want to correct that trauma response. Ultimately, I trust in the Lord, and by going straight into fear mode, I'm allowing the enemy to influence, but God is bigger. I saw 3 different DVMs in the area. The first one was extremely worried about Pike. She felt that based on his symptoms, he had an autoimmune disorder where the body was attacking the enamel on his teeth, causing him to get abscesses and his teeth to start to decay. She recommended surgery and gave him 2 weeks of antibiotics to help knock out the infection. This DVM wanted to get the infection under control before he went into surgery to remove the remaining teeth. Not gonna lie, I'm working through some trauma right now. Come here, buddy. He's a handsome boy. You're a handsome boy. Yes, you are. My handsome special boy. Well, I just talked to the vet and they said a whole bunch of stuff that I can't remember right now. He's going to need surgery to remove the remaining few teeth he has. It looks like there's some term for what's happening, but basically the body is fighting the enamel on the teeth and it's forcing the mouth to attack it. So kind of wish I would have known that when he had the 31 teeth removed, because then I would have just been like, just take everything. But here we are. Towards the end of his antibiotic cycle, I noticed that he was starting to have unstable gait, disorientation, and rabbish appetite. Pike has never been one to scarf down his food, so these were all big red flags. I called the clinic again, and they strongly recommended that he came in to be seen. The original DVM wasn't available, so I saw the on-call DVM, and that was such an awful experience. This DVM brushed off my concerns pretty heavily. She was abrasive, belittling, and ultimately gave me vibes that she was only interested in the money. She laughed at me for being worried about my dog, and maybe I was a little more emotional than the average person, but it hadn't even been 2 months since Agron was rushed to the emergency vet and passed away, so I admit, I was a little emotional. She contradicted everything the previous DVM said. She didn't think he had an autoimmune disorder and threw out words like tumors on the adrenal glands. She wanted me to do thousands of dollars worth of testings, and when I calmly challenged her recommendation, she frustratedly left the room and I never saw her again. When a vet tech came in to take Pike back to start all of these unconsented tests, I kindly asked to see a different DVM. After going through the tests with the manager on duty, we determined that all but one was needed, so it confirmed my feeling that she was only about the money. I expressed that I shouldn't have had to have advocated for my dog this hard, and as a paying customer, this clinic technically works for me, so they need to take a step back and acknowledge the situation. We got Pike on a painkiller, and I scheduled his surgery a few days later. I made it clear that I did not want this current DVM to be on my case. I'm trying to keep my head afloat with this whole Pike situation. It's been 3 weeks since I rushed him to the emergency vet, got him on the antibiotic. I took him to the emergency vet again last week, and that experience was awful. That DVM was just not very helpful or even really concerned. I really had to fight and advocate for my dog. I talked to a different DVM, and he's doing the surgery for Pike, so I feel like he was the one I should have talked to from the beginning, but he was great. Really kind, patient, thorough, didn't make me feel like an idiot like the last one did. So we're gonna move forward, and tomorrow is Pike's surgery. So tonight we're gonna go take a look and see if we can't see any fall colors still, and kind of go from there. When they love you too much, no, it's fake, or even hate. Don't be scared if the weight paralyzes your state at the gate. No, it's a lot to take in. It's designed to know when, don't wait. Wow, this is my favorite season, you guys. When fall transitions and blends with winter. It's really nice to see my dog like play right now, especially these last couple of weeks when he hasn't felt very good. It's kind of encouraging. I'm kind of nervous about the surgery tomorrow, I'm not gonna lie, but I can't control what happens. All I can do is trust in the Lord and pray that it goes well. Last bits of autumn as winter rolls in. It's cold, oh my gosh. Pike's blood work came back, eliminating any signs of infection. However, it did reveal some concerning numbers, and I'm not interested in going into those details right now. The important piece is that Pike was cleared for surgery. Alright, I just dropped off Pike at his surgery and talked to the DVM, and I feel pretty good about it. He feels pretty good about it, so now it's just a waiting game. He did say he was acting super anxious, so he didn't want him waiting all day in that condition, so he's doing Pike's surgery first, so I'll know more here in a little bit, and I get to go hopefully pick up my boy soon. So far, this is best case scenario. I've organized my car. put some grease on my bushings with the squeaking. I've got pipes set up, ready to go. So now I'm just waiting for the vet to call me. 2 days from now is Pike's adoption birthday, because I don't know his actual birthday, but he'll be 10. 9 years that he's been with us, and yeah. Okay, Pike's ready for pickup. Ultimately, he only removed 4 of Pike's remaining teeth. At first, that kind of concerned me because I didn't want this to be a continuous issue. But he confirmed that the teeth that he left were healthy. Pike made it out of surgery, but the DVM said that he developed a heart murmur on the table, so they're very concerned about that. And he recommended a cardiac workup in a few weeks to see if it's a functional one so we can go from there. However, this mixed with the other results put him at high risk for surgery, so they do not recommend that Pike undergoes anesthesia going forward. Okay, we are back at the camper. Pike is starting to rest. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put some comfy clothes on and make something to eat for lunch because I'm hungry. Well, we're back at the camper and Pike is finally laying down and sleeping. I'm gonna let him rest as long as he wants, and then I'll conjure up something for him to eat so that he can get some food in his system. Anyway, looks like he might have developed a murmur in surgery, so the vet was like, you know, this is probably his last surgery. He's now high risk. But his procedure went well. I know there's probably lots of questions, but I don't really have answers because there's been so many conflicting things from the different vets that I've seen at this clinic. But the last vet that I saw was amazing. He's, in my book, my favorite, and I'm very appreciative of him. He took good care of my boy, but it was definitely a very expensive procedure in my book, but it's done, it's over with, and hopefully he can start feeling better now. His thyroid is a concern, his murmur is a concern, and his red blood count is a concern. But right now we're just gonna focus on him healing from this procedure, getting the rest that he needs and care that he needs, and kind of go from there once he's healed. Thank you everybody for your prayers and kind words on social media as you guys kind of went through this with me. This video has taken place over 3 or 4 weeks now, so there's a lot of other videos that I've published in between this time frame. So there's been some updates on Patreon and on Instagram, so thank you to everybody who's reached out and offered their prayers and support. Guys, this one I think was hard for me because of the, you know, just in general that I love my dog, but also because it's so fresh from losing Agron. It was just a lot of trauma healing in this process, and God has definitely been there for me. And I'm gonna go rest with my boy. I think I'm gonna play a little bit of Skyrim and just keep an eye on the sweet boy and go from there.